Hello. Good morning this morning. How are you doing? How is the family doing? How are the children doing? Lovely to be speaking with you at this time, right? Thank you for making the time to watch this. So today something has, I saw a post, to be honest. I saw someone post something about schools and resumption and stuff, and I thought to share. And I hope this will be useful for somebody who is having these kind of thoughts in their minds about their children's education and school selection and all of that. So first off, you need to decide what it is that you want in terms of your child's education, right? The educational system in your family determines the intellectual firepower of members of that family. So as a parent, you want to be intentional about what you are delivering, what you're making available, what you're exposing your child to. So you need to decide, what do I want? What exposure, what education, what level of education, what awareness do I want my child to have? So write it down. Make a list, write it down. Now you need to decide what the school can deliver, right? I like to tell parents, if you completely depend on if you're in Nigeria, as I am, if you completely depend on the educational system of Nigeria as it is designed in its current form, you're not going to get very good results because, to be honest, it's not designed to raise exceptional people. It's not designed to raise people who can solve problems on the global scale in its current form. Talking about primary and secondary education, the curriculum, if you go through it, it's just there. Let's just be honest. So as a parent, you need to take control, take responsibility for your child's education. So after you've made that list, you need to decide which one can the school deliver. Now, there is the constraint aspect of making a school choice or deciding to stay in the school or leave one for the other. There is the fees. If we're being honest, everyone to an extent has some limitation or the other with being able to afford certain kinds of schools. And in the event that is your challenge, it's fine. If where men are in sizes, okay, you are where you are per time, you can increase your earning capacity, but it won't happen in one day, right? So today, here and now, there is an amount of fees that you can conveniently pay. It's important that it is convenient so that the child doesn't have to experience situations where they are turned back from school, or they are aware that their fees have not been paid, and the school has to separate them. The school owners too, they're running a business. Sometimes it's difficult, or it's not the first choice to see things from their perspective. They're running a business, they're trying to break even, they're trying to meet their own obligations, right? They have bills to pay, they have teachers to pay, they have utilities, all sorts of bills to pay. So if you're in that position, you want to pick a school that you can afford. You need to be able to afford your child's school fees without it affecting other things. Now, what you can do to augment what the school that you can afford can deliver is to look at that list of what you want your child's education, their whole education, not the school, what their whole educational outlook, what you want it to be able to give you, the vision that you have for your child's educational capacity. Now, once you have separated what the school can give, determined by the fees you can afford, then you can now start picking off items off that list. So if you want languages, for instance, and the school that you will really like that teaches exposes children to international languages is beyond your reach financially, then you can pick that language and search for resources. The internet is a goldmine. YouTube is a goldmine of information and resources. So you can find, do a curriculum for your child with this in mind at home, and make it available and accessible to the child at a particular frequency. So let's say thrice a week or every weekend, depending on the situation that you live in. If your child is not home early or they're not able to finish their homework early, and you want them to get in bed, obviously, to get enough rest for the next day, you want to look at every weekend, maybe every Saturday. Your child takes an hour or so of these classes, and before you know it, because increased response to use, every time you deploy this, it gets better, right? The child is able to use these resources, they're absorbing it, and then they're able to speak it back to you, because obviously, or maybe not speak it back to you, but they have access to this thing, and every time it enters them, they are getting better, right? The consistency will deliver the result that you want on the long run, right? So you're not relying on the school to provide this, right? But if you can afford a school that can do all of that for you, yes, but you still need to take responsibility. Remember, you have made a list. Now, you're not likely to find a school that will give you all of that. So the responsibility to make those that kind of information available to your child, to expose your child to that kind of information, is still yours at the end of the day. So you have made a list, you have picked a school, considering fees, affordability. You also want to take into consideration proximity to either the home or the school. I'm not a fan of children spending long hours in traffic because the school is far from the house. So I think children are better off being able to get home from school within a short time frame so that they can relax, they can take a shower, they can play, depending on the age of the child, they can play a little bit and then approach homework and do other things, right? It doesn't have to be all about schoolwork for them. So you want them to get in touch with what they have learned in school every day, right? So that, which is the reason for homework, right? Homework should not be excessive, but I think homework is good so that they can refresh their memory and work on those questions or problems on their own, right? So you want your child to touch on that for a short while, but be able to play and relax and unwind and enjoy their lives, right? So I think you need to consider proximity. You need to make sure that the school is not too far from home. If it's going to be closer to the office, then there has to be a conducive area where the children, and a safe space for the children to hang out and wait for you while you close. And if it's a school bus situation, then the school should be able, the house should be close enough for the school to be able to drop off the children or your child at home within a short period of time and ensure that there's safety in the house where the children can be with a reasonable adult who can watch over them while you finish your day and prepare to come home. So think about these things. It's important. It is more beneficial for you to make decisions about your child's education based on the vision that you have for that child. So even if you can't do this now, you know it is in view, you know you're working towards it. And vision attracts resources. You might just find out that you're scrolling on Instagram, for instance, and then there's a free class on something. Maybe you're interested in having your child exposed to STEM or robotics or coding. You might just find out there's a free class and then that you can take advantage of. But if you don't make that list and you don't have it in mind, then that opportunity will not jump out at you because your consciousness is not in that area. But if you have made a list and you're like, okay, I want my child to learn this, it's currently not available, or where we live is far from the nearest school, but it's on your mind, an opportunity might just present itself. So it's important for you to know your educational vision for your child, set up a system around that vision. Look for schools that can deliver those results to you. And in school selection, you want to be specific about asking questions. When you know your child and you have a vision, then you can ask specific questions in a school. So if your child is musically inclined, or you want them to be musically inclined, in your school search or your school choice should take that into consideration. So you want to ask, what do they learn in music? Do they learn to sight read? Do they learn musical notations? Do they learn instruments? What's the teacher like? What's his qualification? What can he deliver? How is he with children? Does he have the patience to manage children, to be able to teach them such a skill, right? So you want to ask those specific questions, and don't be shy. Don't be shy about what you want. It's your child. Now, it's your child. Nobody is going to be more responsible for that child more than you are. So don't say, they will say my wala is too much. Let your wala be too much. They're only going to deal with you for a short period of time. Now, I'm not asking you to be frivolous or disrespectful, because you want to show your child a good example. And if you speak disrespectfully to your teacher, to your child's teacher, there will be blowback on your child, because your teacher is human. 1, 2, your child will be somehow aware of it, even if it's not in their presence, because your disposition to the teacher will show hostility, and the child may not have the requisite respect or regard that they should have for their teacher, and it is due to your actions. So you don't want to set your child up for disregarding adults or disrespecting instructions, because again, you're leaving your child in their care for hours and hours, and you want there to be mutual respect. You want them to regard your child, but you want to teach your child to regard another human being, especially their teacher, who is going to need to be able to instruct them. They're going to need to be able to respect the teacher, to take instructions and take direction from them. So I'm not asking you to be rude or disrespectful, but if something comes to your attention, your child raises something, brings something to your attention that has happened in school, you want to talk to them at the school. If it's a fundamental issue, you want to talk with them at school and ask questions. Why did this happen? My child told me this. What is the position of the school on this matter? I didn't expect this. Lodge a complaint. Talk to somebody. Say something. Write something in their feedback book, so that the school is aware that you're aware. And you see, when you take all these proactive steps, when you get ahead of matters, you see something wrong and you say something, the school knows the parents that are involved, and you want to be that involved parent, right? I don't want to say the school knows not to mess with your child, because hopefully the school is not messing with anybody's child. But the parents that are involved are known by the school, and their children are better for it, right? The teacher knows that you're going to pick issue if say your child's notes are not in a sensible order. Maybe you've gone through the notes and you're like, why is it disjointed? Why is this paragraph? They know. So the teachers are on their toes, right? So they are encouraged to give you a better quality for your money. The school knows that you're on top of your child's education. So the school is going to factor that in when making decisions, that this so and so parent is not going to take this kindly, is not going to take this lying low. So we have to do better, right? If they know that everybody does not care, they just drop their children and go, then the school is not motivated to meet your needs. But if your needs are communicated as frequently as possible, and you're able to carefully state what your issues are, then the school knows that, okay, this parent is watching, this parent is on top of issues in the school, so we have to do better, even if it's just for one parent, right? And like I said, you have to be involved. You have to show up when there are meetings, when there are events in your child's school. You have to show up. You're sending a signal to your child that you're there and they are priority. You're sending a signal to the school that you are involved, and that you are conscious of what happens to your child, and some things are just that or either okay by you or unacceptable to you. So you're letting the school know that you're not a parent who is not interested in their child's education, right? So take all of this into consideration. As the children go back to school, I pray for grace for them. I pray for grace and patience and resources for you, and for the schools, the school owners. You're doing fantastic. Keep up the good work. Keep pushing. The children are getting better. They're getting smarter. They're growing older, right? And they are getting better for it. So that's my encouragement today. If something else comes up, I will put it in the caption. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye-bye.